Welcome to Inside Kennedy Football, your weekly look at the Eagle football program. My name is Josh Powers. Coming up on this edition of Inside Kennedy Football, we will recap Kennedy's homecoming effort last week and talk about their upcoming challenge on the road against a good SMB team. We'll also chat with defensive coordinator Jay Robinson, and in the players segment, we will speak to a couple of the Kennedy seniors, Leanthony Wright-Ponder and Danny Contreras-Sanchez. But first, the head coach, Kedrick Williams. A tough homecoming, but coach, you urge the fans to get out. I know you lose by a score late. It was a very close game, but I thought the fans came out, provided a terrific atmosphere that you were wanting to see. And I know you didn't get the win, but it was still a fun night of Kennedy football.
You know, first of all, thanks out there to Eagle Nation and everybody. I do appreciate that. I asked for the East Side Pride to come out, and boy, did we see it. I saw classmen from 10 years ago to even last year. Some kids who played for me last year came out. So really excited about that, Josh. Just excited about the turnaround of the program. You know, I think we gave them a good game. We didn't give them the game they wanted to see, but it was a good game, especially from the defensive standpoint.
Yeah, defense only allowing the one score very early on. We'll talk to Jay Robinson about that, but let's get to the highlights here, Coach, because you mentioned the defense here. Early on, De La Salle kind of surprised you with their passing game, but the defense did a good job bowing up on a couple of early drives, including one here where you get a big fourth down stop in your own territory. You
know, it reminds me, some coaches I know don't watch a lot of film because of what De La Salle had happened. They had a quarterback that hadn't played all year. He broke his clavicle earlier. He was a good guy. We were not expecting his passing game, so here he gets us with a nice little, that's the next one coming up, I believe.
Yeah,
that was a missed screen pass.
Yeah, incomplete pass that gets you guys off the field. You see it's 4th and 17 there.
Right.
Kept it scoreless for a while. They would break through, but then second half, you wanted to adjust and run the ball more, and you hit him with a little end around here. Elijah Smith, he just continues to perform, Coach, and you really needed him in this game because of all the injuries that were happening, especially at the wide receiver spot. But my goodness, as he made some big plays. We saw it a couple weeks ago against Richfield, certainly last week against Minneapolis Southwest, and here a big 51-yard touchdown run for him.
Right, and this is the call that we called our jet play here. I asked Nick to throw it in. There Elijah reading everything, and then he has his burst. Little guy with a lot of speed, a lot of heart. He's also a great shutdown corner as well.
Late in the game, Coach, you get the ball back. They kind of do you a little bit of a favor. They run one out of bounds, and they throw one to save you a couple of timeouts.
Right.
And you get the ball back instead of maybe with like 10 seconds left. You get it back over a minute. Last desperate pass here. Boy, it's a tough throw to make for Zach. And it just shows you if he catches this, though, you guys might go on to win this game.
And this is the one to Marquez. Yeah, if he catches this, this is at least a tie at minimal. Nobody's in front of him to make that tackle. As you see, we still had some time on the clock, but hey, we gave our best effort. Proud of those guys.
It's just one of those games, and I think that pass kind of typifies it, right? That game was, if it wasn't, injuries throughout the game, right? And then a penalty where a player maybe doesn't hear the whistle in time, and then a pass that's just off a little bit here and there. Just was one of those games. Give De La Salle credit, though. I thought they played well, but just one of those games where it was just so close. But a lot of little things added up to a De La Salle win.
And you hit it on the spot. Give De La Salle credit, Josh, for what they did, what they came in and did to us. Give De La Salle credit for their perseverance, for them really having a great game plan defensively against us to stop our running game, which sets up our passing game. Like you said, we had some injuries in there with some guys going down. That hurt both sides of the ball, unfortunately. So, we'll bounce back and, go from there.
But defensively, Coach, I know we're going to bring out Jay Robinson in a minute, but gosh, you guys performed well. They basically were relegated to wide receiver screen passes the entire game. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't have any time in the pocket. We'll talk to Leanthony about that, too, on the D-line. But I just thought it was a overall really great performance.
It really was, and our defense has really stood up this year, Like you said, our offense, unfortunately, gave up a pick six there, and that's what made the difference in the game. But defense really came out to win the game for us, and I'm proud of those guys. When you hold a team under a certain score, you expect to win. And our defense has done that repeatedly. And, the one thing I tell our kids in our defense, and I commend them, we've lost 2 games by 7 points total. And that's something to really hang your hat on. We're 7 points from being a 5-1 ball club. And that's something that we really, really talk about and preach about.
Yeah, and of course, as you know, come playoff time, always important to have that strong defense.
And it's important to have that experience as well. What is it like to try to win at the end of the game? What is it like to lose that 1-point game, that less than a touchdown game? That kind of game, those kind of experiences is really what pays off in the playoffs.
All right, Coach, we'll see you back here in the last segment. Another challenge for your defense, SMB, this week on the road for you guys.
Thank you.
All right, that's head coach Kedrick Williams. Coming up next, it's the Players segment. We catch up with Danny Contreras-Sanchez and Leanthony Wright-Ponder on Inside Kennedy Football.
Kennedy High School is excited to welcome back fans for the 2021 football season. Masks are strongly recommended but not required. There's no capacity limits, and we're excited to have people back.
The Kennedy Foundation also helps support the football team here at Kennedy. Season passes are available on our website, and Spiritwear is also available for purchase at the Kennedy Games. It takes a village, it takes a community. We'll see you at the football game. Fly with the Eagles! Fly with the Eagles!
Back on Inside Kennedy Football, the Eagles back on the road this week. They will take on SMB. A couple of the seniors join me now. Leanthony Wright-Ponder, Danny Contreras-Sanchez. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
All right, Leanthony, defense has been just a strength for this team all year, especially on the defensive line. We know Christopher Martin's been balling this year, as they say, right? Yourself. And then Luke Dojan joining the D-line this week. It has to be kind of an embarrassment of riches for the kind of athletes you guys have up front. What do you think about that?
Luke is a very good player. I'm glad he's at the D-tackle. He's a very feisty player. He can really get in there, and I'm glad he's on the D-line.
And similarly for you, Danny, you're on the offensive line, the offensive side of things on that line of scrimmage, but the running game has been a strength for you guys, right? I mean, we've seen Saeed with some nice games, Zach certainly with some long runs. So what has been the key on the offensive line this year to perform at a high level?
I think it's all been just working together. All of us have mostly all played together for a whole bunch of years. So just being together as a team really just helped us get as many yards as we do every game.
You've used a lot of different running backs this year, right? I mean, Saeed has battled some injuries, and you've used Marquez and Javon and Eric, a lot of different guys. So does that change when you go from back to back in terms of what you're trying to do on the offensive line in terms of the scheme or how you want to block?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously some of them are faster, some of them are slower, but that doesn't change anything. We're still going to be there trying to block for them and do whatever we can.
Leanthony, obviously we've talked about your lineage at Kennedy. You're kind of like a Kennedy legacy, right, with a couple of older sisters, some great basketball players. You're also a very good basketball player as well. So what did you learn from your older sisters growing up in terms of athletics, and maybe you kind of looked up to them a little bit, I would hope?
I learned that to never give up on your dream and just keep fighting, no matter how hard the days are, and just keep pushing and pushing.
And it sounds like both your older sisters are doing well. Can you give us an update on both of them?
Yeah, Liana, she just had her baby. She's 3 weeks old now. Her name is Lauren. And LaShayla, she's doing pretty good. She's playing with Tampa right now. And she's actually working the Bucks game right now, too. So
that's awesome. That's great to hear. And I hear there's maybe one more athlete coming through the pipeline in a few years yet, right? Talk about that.
Yeah, Layla, she's really good. She's doing gymnastics right now and everything, and just really trying to get into sports. I'm trying to get into basketball, so.
And what, first grader, right? 6 years old?
Yeah, first grader, yep.
Awesome. Yep. Hopefully I'm still around for that when she comes to the Kennedy program. Danny, just talk about this upcoming last 2 weeks of the season here as you prepare for the playoffs. It kind of comes at you quick, right? I mean, you got the game this week and then a quick turnaround for Wednesday, and then it's playoff time. Right now you guys would be in position to get a home game. How important is that for you to get that first-round playoff home game?
I think it'd be amazing. It's something that doesn't really happen at Kennedy. We're just trying to get some greatness around here, and I'm glad that we're all doing it together.
We talked to Coach K in the first segment about that terrific atmosphere that we saw on Friday night with the I think like eight different teams performed at halftime between the band and the cheerleaders and the dance line and everybody. But how awesome was it on homecoming to have you look left, you look right, there's Kennedy fans all across the stadium?
It felt crazy. Like, I remember as a freshman being in those stands and being able to see all the halftime shows and everything, and like it just felt great to be part of it.
Leanthony, what are you guys looking to do on that defensive line? We'll talk to your defensive coordinator, Jay Robinson, here in a minute. But how can you continue to keep up these strong performances as you head toward the postseason, where you're if you're not shutting teams out, it's pretty darn close?
Just keep doing what we do and getting the pressure and just fighting. So, yeah.
All right, guys. Last question for you, Danny. Off the field, what are some of your interests? What do you like to do when it's not football and when it's not doing the homework and everything in school?
Well, right now I can't wait to wrestle. It's something that I take a lot of passion in, so I can't wait to get back out there on the mat.
Give us a little sneak preview for Kennedy wrestling this year as a senior. Another strong team, probably. Kennedy's kind of known as one of the top wrestling schools around, right?
I hope so. As long as everyone gets in there, we dominate no matter what. We just all have to actually be in there and, work hard.
Last one for you, Leanthony. Give us a little sneak preview of basketball coming up. I know that's your maybe your number one sport, or 1A and 1B with football, right? So what can we expect from the Eagles?
We're a pretty good team this year. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited. A lot of potential in everybody, and just very excited. So.
Well, we don't look ahead too much, right? We still got some more football games, hopefully at least 3 or 4 more football games, if not more for you guys. But appreciate the time. Best of luck this week, okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, coming up on the other side of this break, we'll talk to defensive coordinator Jay Robinson when Inside Kennedy Football continues.
The Kennedy Foundation mission is to be a hand up financially to help students in activities and athletics. All students have the ability to participate in any sport or activity regardless of your prior experience. Kennedy is a well-versed school. Lots of opportunities for students to thrive and be their best. Anyone can join us in helping with our fundraising efforts, like purchasing one of our Love Your Melon caps available on our website, purchasing a season pass that is available to all varsity games for both Jefferson and Kennedy throughout the entire school year, and last but not least, join us on Monday nights at Bingo at the sports page. See you there!
Back on Inside Kennedy Football. Kennedy on the road this week. They will take on SMB. Defensive coordinator Jay Robinson joins me now. Jay, glad to have you back. Hopefully, it appears we haven't scared you off too much from being on Inside Kennedy Football. We appreciate the time as always.
Oh, yeah, I enjoy being back, getting able to talk to you guys. It's fun.
Talking defense and talking a successful defense once again. You give up just the one touchdown against De La Salle. Obviously, you'd want to give up 0, right? That's the ultimate goal. But gosh, the way that the defense has improved this year has to be music to your ears.
Yeah, it's been good. All the kids are working hard, and we're definitely transferring from what we implemented last year, and carrying over what we started last year. Yeah, the game on Friday. We were a couple plays away from pitching a shutout in that game. I mean, we didn't have as far as mental errors in the secondary all year. We haven't had any true broken coverages. So to have a couple of them that hurt us in the game was tough, but communication is key, and so that's going to be a big part of practice this week for sure.
Well, we just talked to Leanthony Wright Ponder, and I know you have a lot of guys on the defensive line, but talk about Luke Dozian. He's a guy that's newer to football, just joined the team this past week, but we've seen him on the hockey ice, we've seen him on the lacrosse field. Never hurts to add a terrific athlete into the fold, right?
Yep. So Luke is a kid that last year, I think out of our 7 games that we played, he started over half of them, or at least half of them at D end. And so he's familiar. I think last year was his first year actually playing football, but for a first-year kid last year and just not playing during 2 days and stuff this year and coming in late, just being able to pick it up so fast. He's really smart football player. And then, you know, he's a 6'4", 6'5" kid that's put on 20 pounds of good weight. So he's an asset to have on the defensive line for sure.
For sure, we definitely saw that on Friday. We just talked to Lee Anthony. So how is Lee Anthony as a football player? Just seems like a terrific young man personally, but I know you love his skills too on the football field because he's been doing some damage this year to the opposing offenses.
Yep, so he was kind of Lee Anthony was a legend around just I've heard rumors about him. So I was here all year last year, heard about this kid that's looked, you know, similar to Chris, similar build, and so I just heard rumors about him all year, and so I saw him this summer for the first time, talked to him a little bit, I was like, so you're Lee Anthony. But it's been great to have him.
You're looking up at him, right?
Yep, yeah, almost all of our D linemen, I'm looking up to him for sure. But no, him, Chris, Luke, Michael Winston, I mean, the list goes on for that D line. It's been really good.
And I wanted to ask you, because we saw De La Salle, I think they threw the ball 25 or 26 times in the first half. It's something that they hadn't shown to other teams. When we were looking at the stats, we were surprised as the game kind of unfolded. You made adjustments in the second half, and I don't even know if they got any positive yards, or if they did in the second half, it wasn't much. So what were some of those adjustments, and how were you able to make those so successfully in a quick turnaround?
Yeah, so they had, on the tapes that we had previously leading up to the game, they had number 10 at quarterback, Amir, I think his name was, at wide receiver. He played wide receiver on Friday. So they had this new quarterback in who we hadn't got a lot of tape on. Schematically, what they were doing, though, not a lot changed. They weren't getting out of the pocket as much with this kid. He kind of wanted to be more of a pocket passer, but as far as their scheme, didn't really change much. But credit to them, because as far as the screens that they were doing, the games that we saw, I mean, I could count a handful of wide receiver screens that they actually ran. So that first half, we're playing pretty soft on, playing a lot of cover 3, but we're able to have time, switch to more man, press them up against the line a little bit, so it helped us in the flats.
Yeah, and because of your defensive line, they couldn't really, I think they had 9 yards rushing or something weird like that. It's a really low total for the whole game. Just talk about your tackling, too. That's the other thing that I've kind of noticed this year. Haven't had a lot of missed tackles, guys, you know, making 2-3 people miss or dragging people for 4 or 5 extra yards. I think you've been a good tackling team this year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm always going to play devil's advocate on that and say that we've been not as good as we want to be.
There's always some coaching points to make, right?
Yeah, we can always be a better tackling team, and I don't care how good of tackling, we can always get better at it. But it's something that we practice every day. We do tackling, you know, with our any position and/or doing some type of tackling circuit during practice. We practice turnovers the same kind of way. So every day these guys are getting skills, tackling and ball skills and whatnot for the turnovers. So those are two things that we preach, trying to get the ball back to our offense. And if you get an opportunity to make a tackle, you make it. So for sure.
Last one for you, and don't have to give away any specific secrets, but as you have a veteran defensive line and you got some guys on the back end that have been around for a while, guys like Marquez and Rajon, how much can you add to their plate as the season goes on to make it maybe more challenging for teams that you're going to face up in the playoffs, to maybe give them different looks that they haven't seen yet?
Yep, so we've tried to throw in, we've definitely stayed true to who we are in our scheme throughout the year, but based on who we're playing, we definitely want to throw in a wrinkle that's going to help us schematically throughout the game. So, for instance, this week we're going to see some more heavy stuff and some unbalanced stuff that we haven't seen all year. So being able to adjust, you know, how we're going to line up to some of their unbalanced formations. And, you know, we've been playing a lot of spread this year, so it's going to be the first time where it's going to be a pretty physical, hard-hitting game. So we got to just get lined up and ready to play.
All right, Jay, we appreciate the time as always. Congrats on the strong performances week after week, and we hope it continues for the defense again this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Jay Robinson. Coming up, one more segment of Inside Kennedy Football. We talk to the head coach, Kedrick Williams, about the game against SMB.
As head coach of the Kennedy Eagles football program, I am so excited that the 2021 season is on. I would like to personally invite you, your friends, family, and the community out to support our program. We have been working very hard to provide an entertaining style of football that you will enjoy. The Eagles are ready to kick it.
It's our time. Come fly with the Eagles.
Back on Inside Kennedy Football, the Eagles take to the road this week as they take on SMB. Back to talk about that is the head coach, Kedrick Williams. Before we dive into the game, Coach, I know you've got the Gertons fundraiser going on. We talked to Christopher Martin's grandma last week about that. Just kind of give a quick plug for Karen and how she's helping out with the Gertons fundraiser.
Really appreciate Karen. I mean, she's amazing to have. You know, you always want that parent or grandparent who's willing to go above and beyond. And let me just take this time to really, really say thank you to Karen. What she's done to her, she's brought that energy for it. You know, we didn't have any other fundraisers set up, Josh, and she went above and beyond on her own. She sat out there, ran an idea past the Booster Club. You know, our Booster Club members, we got Kelly Rogers on there. We have Keith Zash, Judy Zash. We have Carla Ledoux on there. We have, thanks for staying on, Adrian Falk. We have a couple other new members. The McKinley family has joined us lately. So, you know, I just want to say thank you to those guys, David Harris Sr., those guys. I just want to say thank you for everything you guys done for us as a Booster Club.
All right, Coach, let's talk about SMB a little bit. A team you just heard from Coach Robinson, and the numbers bear that out. I haven't watched any tape on them, but power running game, right? They've got their leading running back with almost 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Yes.
Mr. Red.
Sanjay.
Red. I'm sure he's going to be a focal point for you guys this week.
He really is. And, you know, it's crazy, Josh, because we already haven't had a focal running back this year that we've really had to focus on the running game. A couple quarterbacks, but not so much as the running game like we will this week. So our defense is set up to stop the run, as you've mentioned before, you know. So it'll really be a test for what we have in store for Friday night.
Let's take a look at SMB. Now, this is their recent game against Richfield, a team that you obviously played. And here is Mr. Red, I believe, going on a nice, for them anyway, maybe not, hopefully not against you guys this week, but here's a nice 25-yard touchdown run for him.
And as you see, it comes, he's sidecar there is what we call that. And the guy goes in motion, gets a nice block on the edge. Sanjay turns it upfield, and his speed shows. He is a great speed track guy.
They can also throw the ball a little bit, too. They've got some athletes on the edge. Here they go for a long one, 66-yard touchdown pass.
Right, and what it is, that awesome blocking up front. And I can't remember the senior's name, but they have about a 6, 8-foot senior guard there that helps them block this down and really protects the quarterback well. They got 2 kids going D1 on that team, so I'm excited to play them. Yeah, they have also Mr. Chase Carter on defense.
Yeah, we know about the lineage of athletes coming through that SMB program in recent years. It seems like their defense has been making timely plays, Coach. They're kind of in a shootout with Richfield last week, and this defensive touchdown really kind of broke the game open in their favor.
And you know what it is, you know, they have a couple kids on that team, Michael Hall, 28, and then 8, Mr. Malcolm. Both of those guys grew up playing for me, and I'm proud to see them having success. They play for me at the youth level, and he gets that interception there. Michael does and returns it for a touchdown. Really excited for them in their senior year.
Yeah, and they're having a good year, Coach, as well. Hopefully you can kind of do the same thing as you did to Minneapolis Southwest a couple of weeks ago. What are the keys from your side as you look forward to the game on Friday?
You know, it's about managing. You know, it's about managing the game. This week we'll try to manage the game. As you mentioned earlier, we have some key injuries out this week, and we're just trying to rest up for the playoffs, you know. These games are fun at the end of the season, but it's really about Minnesota giving you what everyone makes the playoffs, and it's really about that 9th game. I said it my first year, I said it this year. Minnesota football is about the number 9 game that you play, and that's the section game. And that's the one we're getting ready for the first time. We get to control our destiny in this section. I'm really excited about that, Josh. I'm really excited that we're ranked in the top 25 teams in the state and 5A. You know, there's a lot of positive things and a lot of successes that I can continue to talk about this year. We'll save that for next week's final show. But for right now, you know, I'm just really excited that we get to have a competition, somebody that can really test us going into the playoffs.
All right, Coach, best of luck against SMB. We'll see you next week for, a little bit later than next week, right? That game comes quickly, but we'll see you for the next edition of Inside Kennedy Football, okay?
Thank you. That's against my alma mater, Minneapolis Henry. And before I forget about Gertons, everybody please go out and buy your holiday flowers right now. You know, Gertons is doing a great deal of giving us a kickback of your purchases, so it totally is for us. We thank you. Thank you, Eastside Pride.
And there you go. On your screen there is where you can get involved. GertonsFundraising.com is the place to support Kennedy football and pick up some great holiday decor as well. That'll wrap it up for this edition of Inside Kennedy Football. For our entire crew, this is Josh Powers saying so long from our studios.